My name is Tori Gervais and I'm a secondary school teacher in Toronto. And we're out here at my family farm where we have a sugar bush. And so during March, I come out here quite often to help lead tours and organize people and serve brunch.
My name is Terry Gervais and I'm a part-time farmer. We have a sugar bush back here that I started as a hobby back in 1979. Well, we have approximately 3,000 maple trees. In a season we'll produce about 4,500 to 5,500 liters of maple syrup. Ready? Yeah. You saw the yes. We're just going to go down here a little ways. The blue tubing and that in the bush, the small little lateral lines go to each tree and they're the taps where the sap will flow into, and then they'll flow into a larger main line and then run back into a large collecting tank and then shipped and pumped back to the sugar shack. This is a dead maple, and you might even be able to see the parts of the trees, the old sap tap holes that are in them.
And this is a pile of beech wood right here. We have to keep thinning it out so that the sugar maples will grow up, but also we're using it as firewood in the sugar shack. So because it's all wood-fired evaporators, so all of this wood will go and be used in the sugar shack throughout the spring season. Well, I've always been well aware of the diversity of life and the importance of having healthy ecosystems. But when I was in my early 20s at university, I took a course on forest management, and I learned a little bit more about maple trees specifically, and that a mature maple forest includes beech trees. And so I became specifically interested in maybe making sure we had some beech trees that were being protected on the property too. To the beech tree, to the beech tree. And I'm wondering if there's anybody here who can take a look around and tell me if you see a tree that looks like an elephant's leg. Any trees that look like elephant's legs around here? This one here? Yeah, this one here. This is different than most of the trees we have in the sugar bush, right? Mostly it's sugar maples. This one is a beech tree, all right? And beech trees and maple trees are like sister trees. They like to live together, like most sisters do. Quite often when children who are well connected to our family come out here, they'll pick a tree and they'll put their name on it, a sugar maple, and they'll revisit the tree every year and watch it grow. And I never did this when I was a little girl because we didn't have that tradition back then. So I decided in my early 20s that I would use this opportunity to save a beech tree on the property, despite my dad's preference for sugar maples. So I chose what I thought to be a very unique looking beech tree and designated it as my tree, which meant it couldn't be cut down for firewood. It's a little bit frustrating for my dad because no new sugar maples will grow up in the shade, right? So when this tree leaves out, it creates a lot of shade around it, so no new sugar maples can grow up underneath it. And so it kind of shades out the kind of tree that mostly we want to have in the sugar bush. But now I think my dad's sort of come around. It is a beautiful tree, and now he's even starting to protect a few beeches in the forest too.
I've always liked the tree. I just like an argument.
Yes. Well, at first you weren't impressed. I think I remember that. Yeah. A few years ago, I was out for a walk and I walked past the tree and I thought, oh, I'll go check it out a little bit more closely. I haven't had a close visit in a little while. So I went up to the tree and I noticed that bear claw marks all up and down the trunk. So it was just some evidence that a bear had been up the tree eating the beech nuts, which I've just learned are very, very tasty. Come here. So, see here, all these marks here, and you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the 5 nails, the claws, and the bear would have climbed all the way up this tree and sat up in the branches there and eaten the beech nuts. So those are permanent scars on the tree now, and I took my dad back to show him these bear claw marks, and he immediately recognized the sacredness of the tree and that it was a very, very special place now. I don't know for sure. I know beech trees do tend to hold on to their leaves until the new ones come out. And so they'll, even all through winter, you'll see beech trees with their leaves on. There's one example over there. I don't know why exactly the beech tree specifically holds on to its leaves, but it's one of the characteristics of a beech tree. Okay, so we'll carry on this way. I chose the tree probably over 10 years ago, and certainly every year it seems to become a little bit more special. It takes on another dimension. Something about the tree becomes more obvious. Its own character seems to develop a little bit more, and just this relationship with my dad, a little bit antagonizing each other. It's sort of become a fun story point for the sugar bush and between the two of us.